People, Deluded, I'm back again, your favourite YouTuber, your favourite weirdo, probably disturbing the peace. Everybody's looking at me from the left to the right and up front of me like a weirdo. But you know I'm doing videos, I know I'm doing videos. I ain't never gonna see half of these people again. Well, I might, because I'm here every day. But let's crack on. Now, apologies people, I've got quite a few videos to get through. Let me scroll down. But the one I actually wanted to speak about first and foremost, when I saw the news, and I know a lot of people have been speaking about, I knew someone was going to ask me to offer my opinions in regards to Joe Willock, Eddie Nketiah being given new squad numbers, and obviously Reece Nelson's been given one as well. It's something of nothing, because I believe at this point I've offered my opinions on all three, specifically Joe and Eddie more that I want this video to focus on. Offered my opinions in regards to development, first team chances, if they can get chances, if they can't. I feel both can get chances. Clearly, Joe Willock should be bullish really and truly, because there's been question marks over midfielders. Now, Nene's been linked with a move to Bordeaux, although I have seen it's been priced out because of his wages. It was almost like giving him a new deal has made it harder to move him on. I mean, that's some mad genius, but sticking to these three, it's difficult to make it at any top 6 club or any Premier League team or most football teams in general. So all three can take pride in themselves. They have lived the dream that many of us as little kids wanted to do. Score for Arsenal, be an Arsenal footballer and things. I know Nelson technically hasn't scored in the first team, forgive me if I'm wrong, but the other two have. So yeah, they're at the difficult time in what I say, in that if they're going to be given chances next season, which I hope they do, then cool. But it's a difficult one in that they're here for depth purposes, Eddie and Joe. There's a lot of bodies, and clearly they've got quality and a bit of depth. But are they going to play? Are they going to play? What I mean by that is clearly they have to earn their shirts. They're still developing. What I mean by that is midway through the season, when times are getting tough, is Unai Emery going to look at his squad in the week and consider them genuine starting options ahead of Torreira, for example, sticking on Joe, ahead of Torreira, ahead of Guendouzi, etc., just to name two? Because that's what it comes down to now. He's competing with them. We know he's a young G developing, but it's got real now. All of that's irrelevant. He's fighting week in, week out to prove you can start there. My hunch at this moment in time, clearly he's going to have to be patient for chances, but he should be bullish. Joe is developing physically, which is quite surprising. Not that he's developing physically, I mean his development physically is surprising me. He excites me, man. I'm keen to see what sort of midfielder he specifically becomes, because I've seen a bit of his early days. He can play in the 10. I think he can do the box-to-box deep line thing. So there's an option there, and he's still young, so he doesn't need to be there. Doesn't need to be the finished article. For me, if you're not gonna get games here, or if you have an honest conversation with Unai Emery and he says, "Listen, he says, "I listen. If you work hard, you'll play," then cool. By all means, smash your work and stay at the club. But if he's moving a bit iffy, I still maintain that I believe both of them should look to go on loan, because both of them are too good to be playing 23s football. Joe Willock bullying players last season at 23s level, even senior pros in the Czech trade. Eddie scores goals for fun. Unless they become more prominent members of the side, because right now they're on the cusp. I said cusp earlier, cusp. Then cool, but you'd imagine the bulk of their football, at least initially, will be made up of 23s minutes. Obviously, as the Europa League kicks in, Carling Cup, eventually the FA Cup, and the pile-up of the Premier League, there's plenty of games. If you look at Eddie, obviously Eddie now, he's fighting Lacazette and Aubameyang. He's spoken about being open to a loan spell, but he's also spoken about wanting to stay and wanting to stay close. Eddie's a young striker and things like that, but he's still developing. He's had good games for us. When he come on against Burnley, highlight, and I'm sure against United he did okay. Tough time against Blackpool, he's still developing. He hasn't been given 10 games, people. That's what these young players need. They need a run of games. And are they good enough to get that? They're going to have to prove that to Unai Emery. You can't get experience without getting the opportunity to get experience. So it is a bit of a catch-22. All of them should be bullish. It's down to them now. Eddie's fighting Lacazette and Aubameyang for first team spots, so it's highly unlikely, at least initially, that he's going to be ahead of them. So he's going to have to take his time, be patient in several incidences, and really take his time. So we'll see how that one develops. But if he genuinely believes he's a better option in that regards, then Lacazette and Aubameyang, then cool. He actually has to be deluded in the sense that he has to believe he's as good as them. Think about it realistically, people. If you're in that squad and you want to prove to Unai Emery, yo, you shouldn't be using Lacazette and Aubameyang, you should be using me, you have to believe you're better than them. He's fighting against them. Obviously he can play with them, and it's a bit of debate for them sort of positions there, because obviously you've seen us linked with wingers, you've seen Martinelli, you've seen Saka coming to the lineup. You've obviously got Lacazette and Aubameyang and whole other options. Whether he plays one striker, two strikers, one striker, two wingers, obviously that could affect how Eddie gets first team football. Both of them, well, no, Eddie hasn't ruled out a loan spell, so you can never rule out anything. At some point, Eddie might go on loan in this season. You never know. But for what it's worth, I believe Eddie's been handed the number 30, which should be a boost of confidence, if nothing more, for the young lad. I'm not sure of Joe Willock's number, you know. I think it's 28. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I believe he's number 28. So we'll see how that one goes. And I believe Reece Nelson's been given number 24. Now, ironically, one day I want him to have number 7. But he should be bullish. You're seeing him in the Adidas adverts. You're seeing him have a decent season in Germany. He knows the fans want him to become a first-team player. He knows we want him, so he should be bullish in regards to his chances of making it here, in my opinions. We all want Nelson to play. The one factor common denominator between all three of them is they're all at different parts of their development. All their development paths are different. What works for one might not work for the other. But the factor is they're all young. Nelson is not going to come back Cristiano Ronaldo from Hoffenheim. Eddie, as much as I like him, he's not prolific yet at first team level, so you don't know what you're getting. Joe is still defining himself, so they're going to need time. But all three should be bullish. I mean, we've got the tour coming up. All of them are going to have a chance to prove that they should be used in the side and whatnot. Bit tough for Eddie because both of our strikers didn't play in any tournament. Well, Aubameyang did, but they're both back in training, so we'll see, man. Either way, if you don't believe you're good enough, regardless of how star-studded a team might be, you'll never get a chance. So congratulations for all three. It should serve as a confidence boost. Go and prove it that you should start now, people. On that note, I'm going to keep it. In fact, no, let's not keep it moving. Let's speak briefly about the under 18s. Now, the under 18s have officially been announced on the website. Go and look at them. We've signed a lad from Chelsea, which I didn't know about. Young centre half, left-footed. Can't remember his name. I've never seen him, people, but we signed quite a few players from Chelsea. And if you look at Malcolm Eboe in the youth, like if the youth ranks, I keep calling him LOAB for some weird reason. Medley's come through, Eddie's come through. Getting Chelsea release players seems to serve well for us. And if you look at the 23s fixture squad, we are a bit stretched for options at that level. So a couple of these first year scholars, if they play their cards right, at centre half, potentially at left back and potentially at right back, and even Joe Lopez, a second year scholar, you might get opportunities at 23s level, and that's the name of the game to advance and make progress. But it's nice that they've been announced. Following on from Okaflex leaving for Celtic last season, Yunus Musa, someone who as a schoolboy was getting under 18s minutes, has a future in the centre of the park but can play on the flanks. He seems to be departing for Valencia. Now, he was linked with Juventus. Like I said, the scholarship list was announced. He wasn't on there, people, so you have to take it as he's off. He could still sky in a scholarship, but if you look on his Instagram, he's doing his own little separate training drills with a personal trainer. Allegedly, he's joining Valencia. Now, I know for a fact his owners are a foreign-based organisation or have good links to that, which adds to it. I know he has an Italian passport. I mean, he's British-born, so moving in Europe's not an issue, but it makes it easier. He played very well against Valencia in the Liam Brady Cup, so the club is well aware of him, and they might have been alerted to his situation with the whole scholarship situation, with youth players, specifically English youth players, trying their luck abroad. I'm all for it, man. You look at Valencia, they've got a good pathway, man. You're seeing Salah, you're seeing Kanyan Lee, there's plenty of other examples. Obviously, Spanish way of football, different way of thinking, a different ethos and things. Arsenal and Valencia on your CV. I'm all for it. Of course, I don't want to see our youngsters go, and especially youngsters that are earmarked for potential first team. Despite the fact of his young age, he's been in the 18s, like I said, and doing good things. So you don't want to see these young players, but it is what it is. You can't keep all of them. And I'm actually all for, regardless of it's my club or not, any young player who wants to seize the opportunity for themselves and make something of themselves. I'm all for it, because I see too many players get happy at the fact that they're at the top 6 side, and then they find themselves at 21. Yeah, they're here, but they're not where they want to be. So rightly or wrongly, any decisions, I like to see them taking it into their hands. Of course, I didn't want to lose him, someone with all this potential, and go to another club, but good luck if he does. Again, it's not confirmed that he's leaving, but I mean, if they've announced all the other scholarships and he is a first year scholar, we've got to read between the lines a bit, people. Fingers crossed, but he's clearly off. For now, people, I'm out. People, Deluded, thank you very much for watching and rocking. I'm out. Oh, no, I'm not.